Welcome to this week's edition of Inside Focus. Today we will be taking a large look at the historic career of White Sox first baseman number 14, Paul Konerko. We have an action-packed documentary for you guys, and we're looking forward to sharing various clips we've obtained from various insiders who know a lot about what Konerko has achieved over the years, and also people that have had many life experiences with Konerko and have a lot of memories to share about what he has meant to them as a sports fan. You know, I think overall when you start looking at the Paul Konerko story, the first thing that you really have to look at is where he came from. You know, he was a guy, he wins a state championship in high school, but he's not getting a lot of buzz. You know, he gets drafted in the early second, third round by the Los Angeles Dodgers, and he struggles there to begin with. Isn't having much success, gets traded again for a second stint with the Reds, and he's not having success there either. And then finally he joins the White Sox, and that's where he starts, you know, finding his stride, starts putting up some power numbers, and 17 years later, look where he is now. So, you know, I think the thing with Konerko, he's not like a lot of other superstars where it was one place and he became a stud right away. You know, he really had to give it a try at two different stops.
Paul Konerko's career was one that I felt was very consistent. Paul was consistent in everything he did, from his leadership as a captain to his signature batting stance and his in-between pitch technique, where he'd fix his batting gloves, adjust his helmet before stepping in the box and taking a few practice swings. Paul was also consistent in the field. He was a good first baseman, sure-handed on any throws to him, and could definitely field a ground ball. Paul was also consistent in clutch moments in his career, from his grand slam against the Houston Astros in the World Series to countless other walk-off hits and walk-off home runs in his career. Paul was also a consistent human during his career. He always seemed to treat people the right way, respected the fans, and definitely respected the organization, and was an honorable man.
Next up in our segment is we're going to take a live look into various fans of White Sox fans over the years, and we're going to take a live look into their favorite Paul Konerko memories. We've tried to gather up a good amount of people who have a lot of memories watching games, watching Konerko play, and see what they remember most from the 14-year White Sox captain.
My favorite Paul Konerko memory is when I was about 6 years old and I went to USA Field and Paulie hit one of his game-winning home runs.
What you like about it? What made it so special?
It just, the way Paulie hits the ball, and at the end of the game, fans are going wild and everyone's chanting Paulie. Just great experience.
My favorite memory of Paul Konerko was I was sitting in my living room watching the World Series in '05. Game 2, Paul Konerko hits a grand slam that sets the tone for the entire World Series. I think it's what allowed us to get the entire sweep. And the crowd went wild and started chanting, "Paulie, Paul."
My favorite Paul Konerko memory has to be his inside the park home run against the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. I just feel like Paul was always labeled a slow guy throughout his career, and when he was able to touch all the bases while keeping the ball in play, really showed how he defied odds his whole career. A lot of guys wouldn't have expected him to have the speed and endurance to round all the bases before getting tagged out, and Paul did that. I think he did that a lot of times in his career when a lot of guys thought maybe his heyday was over, and then all of a sudden he'd have a year where he hit 320 with 35 homers. And I think that's really what made Paul special. Also his ability to make clutch plays in big games. Obviously the home run in the World Series against the Houston Astros is the one that always jumps out at people, but Paul had a lot of walkouts throughout his career. He always rose when the team needed him most, and I think that's why he was such a great captain, for the Chicago White Sox organization.
Ultimately, what will stand out most about Paul Konerko's legacy to White Sox fans around the globe, as well as to other people in baseball that respect him as a player, is his commitment. For 19 years, he was committed to the Chicago White Sox and never raised a single eyebrow or any sort of disagreement with any of the staff, other players. He never caused a single problem and always was focused on one thing, producing for the Chicago White Sox. He was very tested throughout his career, dealt with a lot of injuries, but that never changed his approach, and the production was unprecedented. Over 430 home runs, over 2,000 RBIs. Konerko put up White Sox records that may never be altered. And I think one thing that comes to mind when you think Paul Konerko is you think captain. His leadership, what he meant to the organization was off the charts. And that's all we can sum up Paul Konerko in. It's been an honor to be with you guys today and spread our knowledge of Paul Konerko, and we'll check back in next week on Inside the Focus. See you next week, guys.